And on this episode of Don't Let the Door Hit You on the Way Out, bitch, we got this from Variety. Star Wars boss Kathleen Kennedy planning to exit Lucasfilm at the end of 2025. Doesn't mean much, honestly, because it doesn't say she was fired. If this was a, hey, breaking news, Kathleen Kennedy fired as Lucasfilm's president, that would be a, wow, Disney, they're finally learning. They've seen 10 years of garbage Star Wars TV shows and movies that have lost them tons and tons of money, a hotel that closed down in Disney World, all these terrible things that this woman has done to the Star Wars fandom. It's finally gone. You would think, wow, Disney finally realized it. It just says she's exited. Maybe she has a contract with them. Maybe they're not re-upping it. But whatever it is, it doesn't really tell me that Disney is on the right track because if they're not going to pick someone like Sam Witwer, honestly, probably one of the biggest Star Wars fans alive today, they're probably just going to hire Dave Filoni, which is essentially Kathleen Kennedy minus the penis. And it seems right now, what Star Wars is trying to do is just throw enough crap at the wall and hope to God that some of it at least sticks a little bit. Even just for, I don't know, an episode or two. Because they have, I don't know what exactly is confirmed or not at this point, though. I know the Mandalorian Grogu movie is going to take place. I think it comes out in like 2026. Who cares about that? Who can honestly sit here right now and say that they care about the Mandalorian? I don't even know. Is another season coming out? Is the show done at this point? I have no idea. I stopped watching with the Jack Black and Lizzo episode or the whole season. I don't even remember when I stopped watching that show because it was just the same slop each and every week. And after the first few episodes of the first season, it kind of lost a lot of its luster, essentially. Pedro Pascal is such an odd casting choice because I've seen articles written that say that he wasn't really in a lot of the episodes. His stunt people were in the suit. And barring the last, like one of the final scenes in the first season where he took off his helmet as he was kind of dying, the robot had to save him, you really didn't need Pedro Pascal for this role. You just spent a lot of money on a guy that was in a few episodes of Game of Thrones, and now Hollywood has said, this is the dude that you're going to see every single season of anything. Just TV shows, movies, spin-off, everything. This is going to be the guy going forward in Hollywood's future. And honestly, I think he's okay. I think he is saying the right things. He's certainly saying the Hollywood spin on things, and I believe that's why he's getting the roles. Ability-wise, I think he's okay. Nothing really about him blows me away, and him playing Mandalorian, it was fun, but we don't really need to see this series continue. But there's a lot of names up here for Kathleen Kennedy's replacement. Like I said, Dave Filoni is probably going to be the lead in one of it. Jon Favreau, I don't really think he would be a good choice for it. Because, well, actually, no. He would be a good choice for it if Bob Iger was to say, John, you did a great job with the first season of Mandalorian. You seem like you know what you're doing. I'm just going to let you do what you have to do. Because as much as we want to blame Kathleen Kennedy here for these things, she has bosses. I don't know if her boss was someone else before Bob Iger, but there is no chance she had free range to do whatever. She didn't have just the ability to just greenlight anything, to have infinite amount of money or something. She had bosses that she had to take these proposed movies and TV shows and ideas and directions and all these directions for where they wanted the franchises to go. They had so many pots on this stove of Star Wars going with their animated, with their live action. None of it's really going anywhere. That's one of the weirdest things about Disney Plus. I said this in a previous video. The MCU shows are kind of doing it right because they're leading to movies. Star Wars, it's not going anywhere. It's not like we have 3 seasons of The Bad Batch and we're going to get a Bad Batch movie. It's not like we had Obi-Wan and Ahsoka and Boba Fett. I'm trying to think what other ones were around the same timeline. We didn't have all 3 of these products taking place and then have it lead to a movie. And Disney Plus has been around since what, 2019? If I'm not mistaken, late 2018, early 2019. So it's been a long time. You've been building a Mandalorian movie for almost 5 years, going on 6 years, but it's supposed to come out in 2026, and that's the only movie you have to show for it? That's not good. As much as I dislike a lot of the MCU shows, like I said, they at least were going towards something. You know, you had WandaVision, that led into Multiverse of Madness. You had Falcon and Winter Soldier, that led to Captain America 4. Moon Knight, that's dead in the water. Agatha, dead in the water. A lot of these, pretty much most of these shows are going nowhere. And with Star Wars, everything's going nowhere. I mean, you had Andor. Andor's probably the best Star Wars show they've done so far, but I don't think Disney really cares about it. And Andor is a show that's not going anywhere. If it would have came out before Rogue One, that would have made so much sense. Having it come out after Rogue One, and we know what happens to Cassian Andor, he dies. That's it. That's the end of it. Do I really need how he got to where he was? The guy's a great actor. Like I said, it's a great show, but it's just, I don't know. It kind of loses something for me that I really don't care that much about. It's a take it or leave it show. It's not something I have to go watch because it's not going to lead to something bigger and better. And Rogue One is probably my favorite of the new Star Wars products. That was a great movie. Did a lot of it retconned a couple things here and there. It's okay though. But overall, I definitely put that up there with one of my favorite Star Wars movies. The Rey ones are dead. The Rey sequels are the Rey sequel trilogy too. That's dead too. Imagine that for a second. Imagine that for a second. I keep saying I have to make this video. I have to do it one day. I don't think the Rey movies made any money. If you look at the numbers, they lose a massive amount of money per movie. And it just seems like the marketing and the budgets just keep going up for these things. So I don't think realistically, let's take a look at this, okay? If the Rey movies made a lot of money, wouldn't we get more of them? I mean, at this point, forget the fans' opinion. Dare I say, forget the fans' opinion. If the Rey movies made as much money as they're trying to make it out that they did, why wouldn't you go with another sequel trilogy? Because then you have the perfect money printing machine. Rey Skywalker Palpatine. You're telling me all of a sudden now that the movies, no one liked them and they made no money? I think we gotta one day look at these numbers. One day, probably like Doge or something like that. Doge is gonna come in there and tell us that they lost all of their money on the Rey movies, all of their money. And wouldn't that just make the most sense in the world? And it does. Like, I made another video about Doctor Who being canceled, and I was saying, isn't it weird how Doctor Who had a record low viewership in terms of numbers and ratings? The lowest it's been in 60 years, yet they have reportedly 3 seasons, yet The Acolyte was the second most watched and most popular thing on Disney Plus, and they canceled that thing after 1 season? When they clearly had multiple seasons planned going forward? Numbers don't make sense in the world of Disney anymore. Years ago, you can say, okay, this made money, people like this, let's keep making more of it. Now we're at a time where Disney stuff, it makes some money, reportedly, supposedly, wink wink, makes money, like the Rey trilogy. And then they're like, hey, let's just cancel the next one because everyone hates it and no one wants to watch it. Why would you think that? Wouldn't you think the opposite, that everyone loves Rey and everyone wants to push her as the next best character of all the Star Wars history? I don't know. But all I know is that Kathleen Kennedy leaving, it doesn't mean much. Because she had bosses. And her bosses had bosses, and Bob Iger is, of course, the head of the snake here. And Bob Iger approved every single solitary thing that she did. Star Wars is not an independent company. It's under the Disney branch. No one in that company has free reign to do whatever. Kevin Feige does not have free reign to do whatever he wants at Marvel. He does not have that freedom at all. It might seem like it with the bullshit that they're popping out these days, but no. People are signing off on these products. So when end this right now. When Kathleen Kennedy, when it says that she's leaving, it doesn't mean anything to me. Because the people that allowed her to greenlight these products, to keep pushing these things, these products, these agendas, these ridiculous characters, these ridiculous storylines that are going nowhere, and these movies that are going to flop, those people are still in charge today. But in the end, what do you guys think about that?
I am the way, the light, the sun. I am the Father, we are one. No fear, no lies can shake my stand. The truth of heaven is in my head.